Call is being recorded right now. All right, so welcome to class 4 of weekend code. Okay, so last class we spoke about the array modifier and we created a jet engine with that. We used that to make some staircase and some few here and there. All right, today we're talking about a new modifier called the mirror modifier. All right, so I believe there's no question about the array modifier. I've explained basically everything it entails. So we're talking about the mirror modifier, and like the name implies, the mirror modifier basically allows you to mirror objects. It might sound like, I mean, why would I mirror object when I can just duplicate it or something? All right. Yes, you'll be right if you say that, but I explained that modifiers help to make your workflow procedural. So meaning you can change certain things on the go. Okay, you can change certain things in real time as opposed to having to have to do the whole thing over again on the flip side. So say for example, like I mentioned with the array modifier, let me add in, say, maybe a monkey head, right? So have a monkey head. Hold on, let me turn on the screencast keys so we can see my screen. All right, so we have the monkey head here, and if we wanted to make an array, of course, if we wanted to make several duplicates of this, initially we have to do the shift D to duplicate, and then maybe shift D again, like that. Okay, so but we mentioned that with the array modifier we can create an array of that. Okay, I explained all this yesterday, so I'm just like speeding through it, right, to catch us up. Right, so the modifier helps us to make a modular more like a procedural workflow, right, which makes us to like adjust and change things on the go. All right, so similarly, to mirror something in Blender, okay, so there are a few ways to do this. You can do this manually, like the normal way, which is like through modeling. You can say, for example, you have let me try and delete. I'll delete half side of this monkey head because the monkey head is symmetric. So of course, if you want to mirror something, you know that anything you mirror in the real world, mirrors kind of reflect a flip side or or a mirror reverse of something or an object or a scene, right? So that's exactly how it works here also. So if I wanted to, so the mirror modifier or mirroring basically will work in situations where you want to do something that is symmetric. Let's say you have a building that is symmetric or a character that is symmetric, meaning the left side is the same on the right side, but in the flip side, and that's when you use mirror modifier. Okay, someone's just joining. Someone just joined now. I think I added Kausar. Okay, she's not here again. All right, so give me a second. Just want to see. I think some people are trying to join. All right, so let's continue. Okay, good. So similarly in Blender, like I was saying, you mirror things like on one side to the other, and I'll show you the advantage of using a mirror modifier, right? So for this now, let me delete the half side of this because this monkey is perfectly symmetric, and we can. So I'm in edit mode, of course. So I'm deleting the half side. Now I'll be deleting the vertex so that we can have a very basically the half flip of the object, right? So now we have half the monkey head. All right. So let's say, for example, I want to actually work on this, do several things. Maybe I don't know. I know I like giving things on. Let's say I want to give this monkey a horn right now. So I would like extrude this, and then maybe I want to really work on the horn or something, and rotate it, move it around. I believe you should not have any issues with what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just transforming. So G to grab, yeah, S to scale and rotate, of course. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing so much work. Yeah, extrude again, maybe scale it down, extrude, scale down, then to have like a weird, I don't know what kind of horn this is. All right. So yeah, I've done all this. But the initial way was that I'll have to do the same thing on the left side. Imagine I have not deleted this right side rather. Okay, so the initial way was I'll have to do the same thing on the right side, which can be a lot of hassle if it's a lot of work. So it would be a lot of work actually if the amount of work I did here was much. So that's when mirrors come in. All right. So the default way to do this is you select the whole thing. All right. You press A to select everything. Then you can right click. Right. Sorry. Let me do this in object mode. Then you can right click. Right. You did it in object mode. Sorry. And you press the mirror. Okay. And you come down to mirror here. If you right click, will bring up the options. And you come down to mirror. And then mirror, because we are on the x-axis, please note the x-axis is here, but on the x-axis is the red line. So we want to mirror it from the left side to the right side. That's as per facing us, right? So we'll have to mirror on the x-axis. So from the notice that after the blue line, anything on the left side, or any, you can take the reference from here, right? So anything, just check it. Anything from the left side is negative. If you hover your mouse over it, you see minus x, and if you hover over the right side here, you see plus. You see x, which is plus x. So yeah, so anything on this left side is minus, and anything on this right side is plus. So even if you are moving something, let's say you G to grab, I want to move it on this side 1 unit, you press -1. Okay, and similarly, if you want to move on the right side in the let me put some arrows on this side 1 unit, you press 1. I mean +1 is 1, so yeah, press 1. Okay, so now to mirror this, you right click on the object, then you scroll down to mirror, then now say mirror, global mirror. Okay, now of course it's not defined whether positive or negative, but it will show the options to define in a minute. Okay, so there's x global, y global, z global, and x local. I'll explain locals and global in a minute. But basically, since we are doing on the x-axis, let's use this global for now. Global, then I'll click on global. All right. So what the mirror did here was it just like made a mirror reverse of the object. So it didn't create an extra. Okay. So if we wanted to do that, we'll have to duplicate this. Then the duplicate object will now have to be the mirror. Okay. So let me do that again. So I can follow along. So if I wanted to make every change I made on this left side to be the same on the right side, I can duplicate it like Shift D to duplicate. Okay. Then I'll now right click. It's still there, right? So I just right click and snap it in the same position. Then with it selected, don't click anything. Now right click. Okay. Now then you can now do the X global mirroring, and we'll now flip that duplicated object, right? So, but the problem is this. Yes, we have duplicated the object, and we can actually just stitch it together. Maybe select the two of them and make them a single object. But before I do that, but the problem is this. If I want to make a new change, let's say the horn is too short for me, then I want to change the size of the horn. Maybe I'm selecting grabbing it this way, doing whatever change. You'll see that now the left side is different from the right side. And before both of them can be the same again, I have to either do the same thing on this right side, try to match it up. I mean, which will be very difficult. To delete the entire right side again, and then do the duplicate again. Shift D to duplicate, escape or right click to snap back to the same position. Then right click to bring out the mirror, the options. Then mirror X global. So this process is quite tedious, and it will slow down your workflow or limit you in a lot of things. All right, so that's where the modifiers come in. So we can use a modifier to do this without having an ASO. And as a matter of fact, the modifier helps you to, because now when you do this mirror, you have two different objects, right? So meaning if you want to like move the monkey, let's say you want to move the monkey from point A to point B, you have to select both of them, because if you select just one side and move, it's going to be like a separate already, like then I have to move two of them. Select the both of them every time, then you move or you scale or you rotate or whatever. Right? So it's a hassle really, and the only way to do that, to make it permanent, is to join them. All right, so as it is now by default, by our workflow, there are two separate objects. You can join them into the same object. Now, bear in mind, this method follows for everything in Blender, every mesh object basically in Blender. So you select the two objects you want to join. Notice that the new, okay, someone is joining. Okay, Kausar, you're welcome. Daniel, you're welcome. Okay, so notice that the new pivots of the objects, right? The new pivots of the two objects basically will be the pivot of the last one you selected, or the most active one. That's the one that will have like the yellow outline instead of the orange outline, right? So bear that in mind. So you select all the objects that you want to join together, and you press Ctrl J, and it automatically join the objects together. So now the objects are one. You can move it together. Can just select it, move it together, rotate, scale, and they will be like one single object, right? They will have the same origin, the same the same origin, and the same pivots and stuff. So right, so that's how you will do it initially, right? But the problem is this: we still have that working once, mirroring the effects of change that will make to the object. So say I still want to do something strange or dramatic. I just want to make some editing to this side, and I want the same thing to be on this side. Because this is a symmetric object, I'll still need to, I still have that. Let's say I'm adding a loop cut, scaling, I'm adding a weird horn right now. I don't know. Translate that to this side, which will be difficult. Okay. I'll tell you another way to make the mirror that's it's still a hassle, but it's like a hack. It's still like the manual way. All right. So yeah, it will still have that problem, right? This is where the mirror modifier comes in. So without talking too much, let me show you the mirror modifier. So let me delete this this right side. Okay, let me go into the wireframe so I can delete all through from the front and the back. And good, let me come into vertex select mode so we can select everything properly. And boom. Yeah, so I have everything selected, and X to delete. All right, so now I have just the one side now, which is like the half of the symmetry. You can now come into the modifier. Remember that you can the modifier is the one with the wrench icon, or just hover your mouse over it, and it will bring up the name, right? So now once you have that selected, then you come to add. Now it's under generate, but okay. So let's just search for now mirror modifier, or if you feel you know where it is, then you can just come to the generate, and then you look for the mirror modifier. So it's this it over here. I can see the icon kind of explains what it does for you. So it's like creating a mirror object of the initial major object. So let's add the mirror object, right? So notice that immediately I added the mirror object, the mirror modifier. This object created a flip side, but notice that the flip side is like looking as though it's in edit mode, so it doesn't have the vertices, edges, or things that I can edit, meaning that whatever I do to this side will in real time be affecting this. The same thing is happening to this other the other mirror side. Okay, so that's the major strength of using mirror modifiers. Okay, so whatever you're doing to one side, it will automatically be applying to the other side. You won't have to do something on one side, having to mirror, having to duplicate, or etc. You know. So yeah, so that's one very important aspect of the mirror or modifier. Okay. So, and I told you that modifiers help to like skyrocket the speed of your workflow, making it more procedural, meaning that you can do things, you can do a lot more things in real time as opposed to having to do them manually and permanently. So the modifier is not only, it's not just that you can modify from left to right, you can mirror from left to right. You can also mirror from top to bottom, from top to bottom, from front to back, right? So that's where you have the axis, right? So if you click on the X, it will mirror from the X to right, it will mirror on the X axis. So automatically to detect what side of the axis it is. So let me use a different object now. Let's say we have I don't know, Okay, let's still use the same monkey here because it showcases how they are mirrored more properly. So now this monkey, notice that this monkey, I mirrored it from the left to the right, right? Automatically our mirror modifier will detect whether what axis and mirror it on the proper axis. So if I delete the left side of this, meaning that to mirror this, we need to mirror to the right. No, I'm deleting the left side, sorry. So that means to mirror this, we need to mirror to the left, right? So if I click on the mirror modifier, automatically it detects that our objects on this side and need to mirror it. All right, so let me do that right now. Click on the mirror. So automatically it's completed it to this side. So that's another thing that is powerful. So about the mirror modifier to take note of. All right, so like I said, you can mirror from bottom to top and from top to bottom. Okay, so let me hide all this. I just did A to select everything and H to hide. Okay, I told you that you can either hide H to hide or you come here. Sorry, give me a second. I come here to click on the I button to either toggle the hiding or to unhide it, right? So let me add in something like a maybe a sphere, right? So we have a sphere now. A sphere is like a ball, basically. So all we have is a sphere, and I want to mirror the sphere from top to bottom. So the same rule applies, right? So I'll just delete the lower part here. Vertices to delete, so lower part. So now we have a sphere, a dome, sort of. But I want the dome to become a sphere back, so that anything I do on the top part will affect the bottom. So if I click on the mirror modifier, look for under generate, look for mirror. If you don't know what it is, of course, you can always search, right? So let me just search mirror, and boom. All right. So now when you mirror this, you feel like it's the same as though nothing happened. That's where you come here, right? So I told you that it needs to know you need to define the axis that you're working with. So now it's on the x-axis, meaning it can only mirror from either left to right or right to left, right? But what we want to mirror now is from the top to bottom, which is on the z-axis. Notice the blue line. So you can always take reference from this top gizmo here. All right, so by default x is selected, so we have to click it to untick it and then click z. Click on the z-axis, right? Because it already shows you the axis here. So you can click on the z-axis and automatically to fill that. So whatever changes you are making to this sphere now, okay, it will in real time and automatically be applied to the bottom. All right, which is great. It can make your workflow very fast. Okay, and if you feel like maybe you don't need the mirror again, instead of having to mark everything to delete, you can just close this modifier, right? This X icon, can close it, and then the mirror will be deleted. So just like that, it makes the workflow more modular and more procedural. Okay, so that's I won't really dwell too much about on the mirror modifier. And yes, I think the last thing I'll be mentioning about the mirror modifier before I move on, we're already running out of time. Okay, is you can mirror. Please pay attention to this about mirror modifier because your assignment for today will be related to this. Okay, so you can mirror on more than one axis at the same time, which is awesome, right? So if I create this, I created a cube right now. Sorry, a sphere. I'm going to wireframe, right? I can delete let me show you something. I'll delete all the but I want to delete the lower half, not just the lower half. I'm deleting the upper half also, the left half also, or the left quadrant in this case, right? X to delete. So I've deleted this, so we have now like one quadrant now. The mirror modifier can allow me to automatically complete this into a sphere back. How do I do that? Just come to the mirror modifier, apply, and create the mirror. So by default, of course, that's created the left axis for us, so making it a hemisphere. And to make it a full sphere, you just click on. Let me show you go into tab so you can see where our original object is. All right, so you just click on the other axis that will complete this from top to bottom, and that is the z axis. So click on that. right? So we are mirroring on two different axes now. So at the same time, we can mirror on the three different axes we have. So let me okay, let me hide these effects, right? So we have the quarter sphere. I don't know what that is called. All right, so let me delete this side. And X to delete versus. All right, so what we have now is like quarter, the quarter of the quarter of a or the 1/8 of a sphere, right? We have the 1/8 of a sphere. So let me undertake everything. 1/8 of a square. So to mirror it on the x-axis, to make it the quarter of a sphere, you click X. Now it has mirrored this what we have here, and to do that on the on the z-axis also, to make it like a half sphere, you click on this, and it has brought out the half, the hemisphere. And then lastly, to make it a complete sphere on the y-axis, which is the positive to the negative y-axis to the positive y-axis. So just click that, and we have a full sphere, all from a quarter sphere. And the amazing thing with this is that we're still like, because the modifier is still on, we can make changes in real time. So if I grab this or do whatever I want, the change will be affected to all the quadrants in real time, right? Look at that. I just created I don't know what this is. I really don't know. All right, so or any change, basically you can just make that and to be applied in real time, which is good. Something like this, like kind of like a mine. I don't know. All right, so yeah, that's basically what it's about. Now for your assignments, okay, maybe I won't, no spoiler, so I'll wait to the end of the class. I'll show you the assignment and how I expect you to use the mirror modifier to achieve that. Okay, so very quickly we'll be running to the next modifier we'll be talking about, and that is so let me quickly clear up our scene. All right, so let me add in a basic cube. All right, sorry, give me a second. All right, good. So we're talking about the next modifier we'll be looking at, and that is the Solidify modifier. Sorry, Solidify. Okay, so if you notice that in everything we've been working on, let me go into edit mode. We have a cube, right? A solid object, a block object. And oh no, let me not use a cube. Let me use a cylinder. I think that's better. Right, so we have a cylinder here, right? We have a solid block object. If I wanted to make something like a water bottle or something that's open-ended, like a cup or something, all right, what I would do is like go into object mode, edit mode rather, and click on one of the faces, and then I'll have to like delete one face, something like that, to make a glass cup. Let me build it from top. I'm just moving this on the vertical axis, all right, to make it taller. So let me do this, something like this. And you know how a glass cup is, the bottom is usually slightly, all right, slightly smaller, right? So we have something like this as glass cup. Then I have to delete the face here, all right? So I told you how to delete in the previous classes. So X to delete, and then look for the face, and we'll delete the face, all right? So we've kind of made a cup, but you discover that the walls of the cup are infinitesimally thin, and they're basically almost non-existent in the thickness, right? And that's not really what a cup looks like. Okay, so normally the way you might have wanted to give this cup thickness is by maybe you select the whole thing. Okay, you select all the parts of the object and you press some, I don't know, maybe you press extrude or something, then now scale it inward. All right, let me just go to wireframe. Yeah, I scale it inward, then maybe you move it up a bit. Yeah, so that's how you would have created thickness for. Now we have a thick cup. So that's how you would have created a thickness for this cup in the past, or maybe without the modifier, right? But notice that when I extrude and made it thick, I have to start adjusting one by one, because when I scaled it in, the thickness was going inward and it's not even. So the thickness between the bottom of the original cup and the bottom of the extruded one It's not the same thickness as the walls, and it's not the same thickness as the top here. So it's not like it's not changing the thickness is not being even, right? And that might affect you might be able to get away with this sometimes if that's what you're going for, but many times it's not it's going to give you problems in your workflow. And at the same time, as you can see here, for the cup to actually still look like cup, I need to raise this top part up, then match it up properly, and maybe eyeball it and stuff. Yeah, and then maybe go into the bottom and try to make the bottom almost match up also here. All right, so it's a hassle, right? But there's a better way to do this, and that's with the Solidify modifier. So what the Solidify modifier does is it takes every face and kind of doubles it. And you can, of course, because it's a modifier, you can it's procedural, meaning you can adjust parameters, maybe adjust the thickness, adjust the everything in real time, right? So not just having to start tweaking, reduce this, increase this. I'll follow me, please. I feel like I'm talking to myself.
Yes, we are following.
All right, good. Thank you, Brian. And Tolulope, Genevieve, Kausar, are you following me?
Yes, we are.
All right, good. Excellent.
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you. How about you, Kausar? I've not heard anything.
Yes, I'm listening.
All right, good. So now how you do that with the Solidify modifier is you let me start from let me delete this X to delete the vertices, to delete everything, and then and delete the faces here. All right, so we're back to the cup, something that we have. So the easier way to do this is to come to the array the modifier here. You click on the modifier, and with the name of the modifier is called the Solidify modifier. So you can type it, or it's under the generate also. So Solidify, right? So you can see generate Solidify. Then you can just click that, and by default it has added thickness to it. So notice the thickness is quite thin right now. If it was like the previous way, you have to select all the faces inside and then start scaling them inward, and I mean it's just a hassle. But with this modifier, just come here to thickness and keep increasing this to your liking. All right, you can keep increasing it until you have the thickness you desire. All right, someone is joining. Okay, Tosin is just joining. All right. Okay, so you can keep increasing this to your personal desire until you're satisfied with the thickness you want. And you can, if you feel the thickness is too thick, thickness too thick, then you can reduce it again. And also you can, it's not just like you increase on the outer part, you can even increase it inward. So now we have like plus 0.08. You can reduce it to something like minus. You can even go minus. All right, so you can go minus whatever, and notice how it's affecting the object in real time. Okay, and if you want the thickness of the of what you're doing to be even all round. Okay, let me go to edit mode. If you want the thickness, let me go to be even all round. You can click on even thickness here. So you can just tick that, and it will ensure that the thickness will be even all round. Okay. So you will see the point at where we start talking about materials. Okay. You will see. I hope you don't lose that. The first assignment you did. That's the Swan water bottle. All right. So we'll be using this Solidify modifier to make it look better. I promise you, it will not look. It will look weird when we start adding materials if we don't use this Solidify modifier. All right. So, okay. So, yeah. So the thickness will make the thickness of the bottle all around, even to the bottom, everything will be even. Okay. So also, if you want only the rim to have the thickness, to have the duplicates, if you want to work with only the rim, so that's it. It will, if you click this only rim, it will delete everything. It will assume that is the only thing you're adding thickness to is the rim, of course, which is like the edge, like the rim of the object, right? So, but I want the thickness to be all around, so I'm going to untick it. So that's the another thing. All these parameters, you can tweak them in real time. That's the major advantage of the Solidify modifier. I won't go too deep into a lot of this. Perhaps in our next exercises that we'll be working on, I'll use them to explain this thing. So because it might just add some bit of confusion. All right, so yeah, so basically that's all about the Solidify modifier. There's not too much headache about it. And see, this is another place where you can use the Solidify modifier very easily. You see, remember the jet engine we made yesterday? I'll use the Solidify modifier to make it easier. So you might not have you might not deal with all the hassle with it. So I'm going to create the jet engine again, but I'm going to use the Solidify modifier to make it 10 times better now. So to make it faster, to work faster rather. So let me add in a mesh, but I won't be adding a cube now. I'll be adding a plane, right? A plane is just literally a plane, all right? No depth to it, no thickness to it. It's a flat plane. So I'm going to go into edit mode. Now I'm going to rotate this on the y-axis. Sorry, I'm rotating it on the x-axis. I want it to stand upright. Sorry, rotates on the x-axis 90 degrees. Enter. All right. So I'm going to bring this up. I want it to be sitting on the line, just roughly, maybe not necessarily, but just roughly. And then now I'm going to, because it's a plane, we'll not be using too much of the face. We'll be using more of the edge tool, right? So now just scale it on this side. It's the same thing we did yesterday with the jet engine, all right? But I want to use the plane. Then I use the Solidify modifier to explain how we can use it. So I'll just scale it a little bit here. A plane should be easier to work with, and you have those distorting, confusing shapes that we had yesterday. Right. So, but basically the same rule applies. Control R to add a loop cut. Okay, so I'll just add maybe a few like this. All right, good. Oh, sorry. Okay, good. Yeah. So now I'm coming to oh, you know what? Maybe I'll Control Z. I don't want to add this thing because I want to work from the top, right? I'll still want it to maintain the same side length, the uniformity. Not it. I will still scale it on the bottom part, but let's start with this first. Okay. So let's make it tall, and yeah, and then I'll add in the loop cuts R. I'm going to I'll just hover the mouse over it. Let's say something like this. 4 loop cuts is okay for me. So I'm just going to click it, right click to snap to the center. I'm trying to be very fast. This is just to show you something. Then I'll go to the top view. Okay. Now notice that when you see a plane from top, of course, it's going to be a line. It's going to appear as though it's a line. All right. So I'm now going to try to create that that airfoil effect, that airfoil look, basically. So now let me go into wireframe so that I'll select both the top and bottom at the same time. All right. So select this, bring it down a little bit. Let me bring this a little bit downward also. Yeah. Then maybe this one up slightly. This a little bit up also. I'm just trying this. There's no rule to it, so I'm just trying to eyeball the airfoil until it looks airfoilish. It's just like that curve, right? So yeah, I think I have the airfoil curve well enough now. Now I'm going to select all the vertices here to scale them down a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to add in several loop cuts, the same way we did jet engine yesterday, basically. All right, but notice that we're working with a plane now as opposed to with a solid object rule. So now I have the cuts. So now I'm going to start rotating, right? Because I want to create that twisting effect. R Z, let me use 10 degrees. I don't know why I like using 10 degrees. Okay, so of course we add again RZ 20. Okay, we did this yesterday, so I'm not going to be explaining much. 30, rotate Z 40, rotate Z-axis 50. Okay, rotate Z-axis 60, and rotate Z-axis 70. Okay, so I've created the twist now. So now we have a plane that is twisted, an airfoil plane that is twisted. All right. So how to make this have thickness? We can now do this in the array modifier. I think this is even a better way, because the way we did it yesterday, we can't really adjust the thickness. So maybe if it was too thick, we can't really make it thinner or something like that. So now to add in the solidify modifier. I mean, right. So notice that when we added the solidify, let me hide it and show. When we added it gained some thickness, and we can also, of course, increase the thickness in real time. So increase it until you're happy. All right. So maybe increase it a little bit more. And yeah, I think we're getting there. So now it's still, of course, it's a bit blocky now, but you can just add in the what they call it, the subdivision surface. I thought the subdivision surface subdivides your work and make it smoother, right? Of course, at first it will distort the whole thing, then we can adjust it later on. All right. So yeah, now can increase the cuts, and it's smoother now. So just like that, we have a better workflow to creating the blade of the jet engine. All right. So I won't be creating the whole jet engine, of course, but just like that, we have a workflow. And at the same time, because the modifier is still here, we can increase the thickness in real time. Maybe reduce it a bit, make it thinner or something. I want to smoothen it now, so I'll right click on it and shade smooth. All right. So yeah, I think that's the better way to create the jet engine, right? Okay, so quickly I want to jump into the last modifier that I'll be talking about today before we start talking about the assignment exercise I'll be having. So we already lost so much time today. Okay, so now the last modifier that I'll be talking about today is the Boolean modifier. All right, so there's quite a few things about the Boolean modifier. The major modifier, the rest of the major modifiers that I would have been talking about today, and there's not so much about them, so I'll intermittently mention them as we proceed in class in the course. So but the Boolean modifier, I want to take my time to explain it. Right. So Boolean, what Boolean means in Blender, right, is basically well, in coding, of course, Boolean is kind of like a true or false statement, but basically in Blender, when you're talking about Boolean, it's basically you're using an object to cut something. You're cutting an object with another object. So say, for example, I want to have like I want to cut out, let me delete this. Okay, so start from scratch again. Let's say we have, let me add simple objects, right? So we have a cylinder, and let me add in a cube. All right, so let me move the cube to separate them. So I have a cube now. If I wanted to create a hole, like I want to bore a hole as though something was drilled through this cube, okay, as though it was drilled through, how will I do that? Now, by default, I may have to, it might be a nightmare for me to model that hole. So maybe using the insert or something, I'll click on the two faces. Like if you drill it to come from this side and end up on this side. So I'll select the two faces and maybe insert to scale to do this. And then I'll now press X to delete those faces. So I have a basic hole. But the problem is now I'm left with the face issues because it's not really a hole, and it's kind of like a square. I mean, that's the problem. Okay. Or what if I wanted to drill a cylinder as opposed to just a square? So those are problems that you will solve using the Boolean. All right. So the Boolean allows you to cut an object with the shape of another object. All right. So let me Ctrl Z to undo everything. And how to do that is I'll cut a hole with this cylinder. So what you do is you move the cylinder, the cutter object. All right. This is the object to be cut. The object to be cut is the cube. The cutter object is the cylinder. Okay. So maybe move it up to this point. And I want to rotate it because I want to cut it through. Or maybe scale it. Maybe I want to cut it on all sides. Okay. So let's scale it on Shift Z. All right. To make it narrow, maybe make it a little bit bigger. All right. So now we can see it. It's coming through this object. Okay. So how to do that is you select the object that like the object that you want to cut. That's the one you select. Please don't get this confused because it can be tricky sometimes, right? The object you want to cut is the one you add the Boolean to. right? Not the object that is cutting. Does that make sense? All right. So um, you select the object you want to cut. You come to the modifiers here, and then you search for the Boolean. It's under the generate also, or you can search for it if you don't know where it is. You don't need to memorize it, right? So let me just search so you can get used to that. So Boolean. So this is it, Boolean. And you can see it, the icon is kind of explaining what it does for you. So just select the Boolean. All right, so by default, it looks as though nothing is happening. But if you go into the wireframe, you start seeing the magic, right? So let's go to wireframe. All right. It's of course as it's still looking like there's nothing is happening because we have not selected the object. Now the boolean is on the cube, but we have not selected that. Okay, I want this object to cut the cube. So how do we do that? We come to this object here under the boolean. We come to this object, and then we click on this. You can either click the drop down if you don't have too many things in your scene, right? Remember we still have some monkeys that we hid here, so but what we want to use to cut the object is this cylinder. So we're going to select this cylinder. And if you don't want to use that method, you can just click this eyedropper tool, bring it to the cylinder, and you click on the cylinder. All right. Notice that immediately I did that, you can see like an outline of what the object looks like after it has been cut. All right. So, but bear in mind, it has not yet cut because the modifier is still in effect. It has not been applied. So before if you apply the effect of a modifier, it's like you've made the effect permanent. You can't change that unless you maybe Control Z or something. All right. So, but as it is now, you can still change I can still change the way it is being cut. So by moving this object, notice how the cube is changing, right? You can't really see the effect so much in solid view. That's why I'm in wireframe view. Okay, so notice how the cube is changing as I'm moving this. Now it's no longer being cut from the center. It's being cut like from some in a way. Let me even rotate it so you can see that you can cut in any way. Let me select the cube so you can see how it's been cut. Yeah. So in real time, it's like the cutting is happening in real time. Okay, so let me undo because I want to cut from center. All right. So we're back to center. So I want the cutting to be done, to be made permanent. I want like the hole so that when I remove the cube, the hole will be there, right? So what I'll now do is this. I'll now come to this drop down here. Notice this. I come to this drop down here, and I'll click apply. And the shortcut key for that is Control A. But bear in mind, the Control A has to be done on your mouse has to be over this place when you press Control A, right? Else it will not do what you want, all right? So or alternatively, just click this drop down and press apply. So once you click the apply, the modifier will disappear, meaning that it has applied the effect of the modifier. And then if you come into solid view now, and you click on the cylinder and move it away, you see that you now have the hole there, right? Now that's how to successfully cut a hole into a cylinder hassle free. All right. Now imagine you having to model this hole from scratch. It's going to be a nightmare, meaning you have to, I mean, it's crazy. And there are some faces that are outright, I won't say impossible, but it's basically impossible to model. So to do the Boolean modifier helps to make our workflow very easy. So just create the object or the shape of what you want the cut to look like, and then you use that cut to make the groove or make the cut into this object. So a quick live exercise right now. I want us to make a cut. Now what I did is I made a cut from the top here. Now I want you to make a cut from the front and from the side so that the cube will basically have like a cut all through it. All right. So we're sharing our screens, and I'll be seeing how we're doing that all through. Okay. So who wants to go first? I'll stop sharing my screen right now. Stop presenting. Hello, are we hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm blazing through this class because we've lost so much time. I wanted to cover as much as possible, so that's what I'm blazing through. All right, so yeah, who wants to go first? Brian, you seem to be volunteering.
I was actually saying ladies first.
All right. Okay, so ladies, who wants to go first? Show that girl power. Let's see that girl power. Who is volunteering? You know, if you don't volunteer, I'll call. I'll call the person at random. All right. Mini, mini, miny, mo. Wonder where my glove will go. Okay, so let's start with Kausara. The ladies are shy, or they're not talking. So Kausara, can we have you? Kausara, can you hear me? Okay, how about Tolu Lope while Kausara is preparing? Tolu.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can barely hear you. Your voice is quite low.
I don't know. I think it's a thing in my system. But can you
What do you
hear me
say?
now?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you now, loud and clear. Awesome. All right, so let's
Oh,
share your screen and try to make the groove that I asked.
okay.
Genevieve, please get ready, and then lastly Brian, because Brian said ladies first, so we'll go to Brian. Tosin, you're welcome. You've been back and forth. I don't know what's wrong.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's coming up. Yes, I can see your screen now. Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
I'm actually doing something at the moment. I'm just trying it out. Yeah.
All right.
So
That's fair enough.
yeah. Okay. So am I supposed to be talking right now? Okay.
No, you're
So
supposed to, you can talk and explain the process of what you're doing. So if
okay,
you're
okay.
making
So far, what I've done is just to bring in the objects, that's the cube and the cylinder, and
okay,
I've placed it the way I want it to be cut. I don't know if the position is correct.
there's
Based on
well, okay. For what I want the position to be like directly at the center, right? Okay.
at the center, not at the side.
Not at the side. I want it to be at the center. I want it to be like cutting through, not like shaving part off. You understand?
Okay, okay.
So
So
you can move the cylinder to the center of the cube.
yeah.
Okay, so that it will cut all the way through.
So,
All right, good. I think that's fair enough.
okay.
I don't know if I mentioned this, how to snap objects to several points. Did I mention that? Um, sorry, can you hold on, Tolu? Let me quickly share my screen and explain a basic concept for you
So,
guys.
uh,
All right. So sorry, I think I've shared I mentioned that in passing, but I didn't really go in depth on it. All right. So can we all see my screen? I'll quickly show something.
Yes.
Okay, good. So notice that there are a few things to note. Notice that if for every object you select, you see like there's a yellow dot at the bottom at the center. I've mentioned it, but I didn't know if I mentioned it in depth like this. Right? There's like a yellow dot. If I select this, there's a yellow dot. Let me even bring back monkey heads. Let me separate them. All right. So if I select even the monkey head, you see like there's a yellow dot at the center, very tiny. Okay. So that dot is called the origin. For every mesh object, they have origin. Every mesh object will have an origin. So that's the origin, right? So, and the reason why the origin is important is everything you do will be about that origin. Say, for example, if I'm in solid view now and I want to rotate, notice that it's kind of rotating around its center, and my mouse will have like a dotted line towards that center. So if I rotate or if I scale, it's going to scale taking reference from that origin. Let me show you what it mean. What's mean if I change the position of the origin. So if I'm in edit mode, so if you are in object mode and you move any object around, the origin will follow it basically. But if you're in edit mode, you can do things differently. Like you can move the object, the entire object, but the origin is still at this point here, right? So the origin is still at this point. Usually, you might want to keep your origin to the center of your object, like to the center, because so that to avoid some hassle. So if I move an object away from its origin in edit mode, and I come into solid view, into um object mode here, notice that when all the gizmos I'm selecting, they are appearing around the origin, not around the object itself. They are appearing on the origin, not the object. So meaning that if I were to rotate now, it's not rotating. You see, notice that the rotating is different from how it was behaving before. Like it's kind of rotating around that origin instead of around itself. However, in edit mode, everything will ignore the origin. So in edit mode, it will rotate properly and scale properly, and stuff. But in object mode, right, each object will act around its origin. Right, so that's how it works by default. So by default, every object, the origins will usually be in the center of objects, unless you tweak that from this. So, but if you wanted to move the origin of something, say for example, this now, let's say I want it to be that whenever I'm rotating this cube, this cylinder, I want it to be like I'm rotating from, like I'm putting a pin on the bottom and then rotating about that pin. So how I will do that is I'll come into the edit mode. All right, let me snap into like a front view or something. All right. Now this is what the concept I wanted to explain. That's the snapping things to view. So now I've kind of taken this object off its origin, and I don't know how to get that back because it may cause some hitches for me in my workflow and in my especially when I'm transforming, right? So how do I bring this origin back to the center? So that's simple. In Blender, you can just right click on the object and you can set origin. Set origin, it bring out a few options, right? So you can set origin to geometry to origin, or origin to geometry. They are basically the same thing, but one is to the other. So like you either set the geometry, the cylinder itself is the geometry, the dot here is the origin. So you can set the geometry to the origin, or you can set the origin to the geometry. So that means both of them will align to center each other automatically. Let me do that. So if you are setting geometry to origin, the geometry will go to the position of the origin, right? So that's the cylinder will go to the position of the origin. So right click, and if I do that, that happens. Or Ctrl-Z to undo. I can make the origin itself come to the center. All right. So origin to geometry, they're basically doing the same thing. All right. So you notice that the red yellow dot has come to the center now. Or there are still a few ways. Or you can set the origin, which is this yellow stuff. You can set the origin to a 3D cursor. Now this brings a whole different concept. Let me hide this. So for now, let me hide this. And let me even hide this other monkey head also. All right. So notice that in the center, there's kind of like this very small circle. Okay. Don't confuse that with the origin. So this is the 3D cursor, and it can be moved. It can be in any place at any point in time. So to move the 3D cursor from, by default, it to be in the center. That's the cross center of 0, 0, 0 in the world. That's the zero position in the X, Y, and Z axis. Okay. So you can hold Shift on your keyboard and right click anywhere. So wherever you right click to it, to automatically snap to that position. So why is this important? This is important because anything you add into your scene, it will appear as the position of the 3D cursor. The 3D cursor is different from the origin. All right. So the 3D cursor is the one that looks like a circle. The origin is just a dot. All right. So notice that things that have been added in before. If I added like a cube or something, it will appear at the center here, at the zero center position here. However, if I bring the 3D cursor to somewhere here, like I'm right clicking, you can right click anywhere in 3D view space. If I right click here now and I add in, let's say, the same cube, it will appear here instead of appearing here. All right. So there are instances where you might want to add something to a specific position so that you will not have to manipulate to bring that in there. So that's where things like this will come in handy. All right. Say for example, I wanted to make a Boolean cut. I wanted to cut like I wanted to have I want to chip out a part of this, the pointed end of this cube, right? Let me use another cube for reference. All right. Let me use this one. So I'll go into edit mode. If I wanted to, let me select vertex. If I want to chip out the edge of this place, just the edge. I'm trying to make a cut on the edge. And I want to add the cutter object to be directly at that point. Now it might be difficult to take the cutter object and start navigating to it, or even it take time. Even if it's not difficult, it might take time to maybe now take this and start trying to navigate, move it to that point. Yeah, is it there? Yeah, try to adjust to it. That might take time, right? So that's where snapping comes in. And how do you snap? You just hold Shift S. Now, if you hold Shift S, it will bring out snapping options, right? Right? Shift. I usually hold it, but you don't need to hold it. You can press Shift S and to bring out the snap option. Now, if you see the snap option, there are different. There are like quite a few options here. So you can snap selection to cursor. Cursor to, like, the name is very self-explanatory actually. So once you select something, right? Please bear in mind that this way our cursor is. Let me move the cursor to somewhere different. Now, if I wanted to bring this selection, maybe this cube, I want to bring this cube to this position, right? Now, the default way to do that is by I have to move it. Is it aligning? Then come to another view. Maybe bring it here. Get that particular point in space. So what you do is you snap that view, that object to that place automatically, and you press Shift S to do that. Shift S to bring up the snapping option or the snapping menu, and then you snap the selection to the cursor. All right. So the selection to the cursor. So if you press selection to cursor, it will now automatically snap that selection to that cursor, and it will do it so perfectly at the same point, right? So it's snapped in, and notice that everything. When I said I wanted to have a cylinder cut through this object, please, are you listening to me? All right, sorry, the explanation is taking a bit long, but it's important you get this concept because you use it a lot. So please, are you hearing me? I need some audio feedback.
Yes.
Yes.
Yellow.
We can hear you.
Hello. I need
Yeah,
audio feedback, please.
we can hear you. I don't think you can hear us.
All right, good. Okay, so you can hear me, right? Okay, great. So when I said I wanted this to cut the object, the cylinder to cut the object at the perfect center, right? Notice that mine cut the object at perfect center, but let me bring, since you now know how to make an object to be in the perfect center of its origin. Let me just right click, set back geometry to origin. So I've made it to be at the center. How do I now?
We have lost
Bring the
him
cursor
again.
is hold shift and you right click, right? The same way you can snap an object to the cursor, you can also snap the cursor to an object. So what am I saying? So if I say Shift S, right, to bring up the snapping option. Now,
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so we lost them.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I think I dropped off and my network had a glitch and I dropped off. Please, what was the last thing I was saying before you stopped hearing me?
I think you're talking about snapping one of the objects into a shape and the other way around. So that's
All right.
where I think we lost you. Yeah.
Okay, so but did you understand how I got did you hear me up to the point of how I got the cylinder to be in the center of this cube?
No.
All right, so what I did was this, all right? Let me undo that. All right, so remember I said that you can bring the 3D cursor anywhere in space by holding shift and right click. The cursor will automatically snap to where the mouse is, right? So
Yes.
if you want to say, for example, you want to bring this cylinder to the center of this cube and make the same cut the way we did this cube here, by default you have to find a way to move it to the center or something, maybe bring it up, but I guarantee you will not get the perfect center. All right, so I guarantee you will not get the perfect, and besides it's like a hassle. You have to start adjusting, tweaking, looking at it from different angles and stuff like that. All right, so the better way to do that is to take you select the cube or whatever object it is, then you now snap this 3D cursor that is floating in space, you snap it to the origin of the cube. That's number one. And then you now snap this object to the 3D cursor itself. So you snap the cylinder to the 3D cursor. So that's how I did that. So what I did was Tolokwe, please you continue your sharing. I just needed to explain this concept, all right? So what you now do is you select the object, you press Shift S to bring up the snapping menu, and then you are now snapping the 3D cursor, that's the cursor, to the selected. Please bear that in mind. Cursor to selected. Now you bring the mouse down and click on that, right? Cursor to selected. And you notice that immediately I click that, the 3D cursor snapped to the center of this cube, all right? That's the first step. And the second step is to take the object itself. You select the object itself that you want to be in the center, that I want to snap also to the center. And you press Shift S to bring up the snapping menu. And then you snap the selected object. It's like the opposite, right? You are snapping the selection to the cursor. So now when you click that, the selection will now automatically snap to its cursor, and that will align the two objects perfectly. So after you've done that, of course, then you can now add the Boolean to this and then do the cutting. All right, is that clear to Lokwe?
Yes, it is. I've done
All right,
that
good.
already. Thank you.
All right, good. So I wanted to mention that so that it will help you to align your objects in the perfect center. So let me stop sharing so you can quickly show us what you have. We're already running out of time. Yeah, ASAP, share a screen, Tolu.
Okay.
So Genevieve, I said get ready, and followed by Brian. I don't know, we're not hearing from Kausar.
Okay, so I've done that already. Can you see my
Okay.
screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Excellent. Okay, you snapped it correctly,
Yes.
or you used the cheat.
No, I did that correctly.
All right. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Good. So yeah. So let's make the cuts now.
Okay. So I'm adding the Boolean modifier.
Please, everybody, pay attention because immediately after Tolokwe. So, sorry, hold on, Tolokwe. Or you can continue what your name, Tolokwe. Immediately after Tolokwe shares this, everybody will be cutting in through the cube, but not in just that space. You're right. You will cut through the top, you cut through the bottom, and you cut to the top, to the side, and through the front. So it's going to be like hollow on all sides. All right.
Okay, so I've selected my cylinder.
Okay.
To take note, I selected the cube first before adding a modifier.
Okay.
And I use the tool picker to select the cylinder. So
Okay.
I'll apply it, and then I'm going to remove the cylinder, and we have it here.
Exactly. Perfect. I'm tempted to clap for you, but I don't know. I'm too proud. So I don't clap for people. All right. You have to really impress me before I clap for you. All right. So Genevieve, can we have you? Genevieve, ASAP.
So sorry, I can't share my screen now because my keyboard is not working properly. So
Okay.
it's trying to move the object and all that. So, but I get what you just did. I get it.
All right, no problem. Can we have Brian, or is it? Yeah, Brian. Let's have Brian. Kausara is not ready. So, Kausara, please, if you can hear me, get ready. And Tosin also, please get ready. So, Brian, let's have you.
Okay, so I believe I already did that, but now I want to do the other option where you said we need to cut it on the other side, because if I push this, we have that. So now I'd want to cut on this side and also on this other side. So what I'll do is I'll select the cylinder, grab and rotate.
Okay.
It's not, hold up, wait, just let me put it somewhere there. So I'll select the cylinder, grab and rotate. Let me say rotate to the x-axis, yes. And then I'll leave it as that. It's not correctly shaped. Let me try again, grab, rotate, x, somewhere there. Yeah, okay, it's not appearing straight, but I'll fix that. So, and then all I have to do is select the cube with the hole on the top face, add a modifier, go to generate, go to Boolean, and then look at the couple of options, take the drop down tool and select the cylinder, or just select this and the cylinder appears, and then come to the drop down arrow here on the Boolean modifier, and then apply.
Okay.
And then now if I move the shape, we have a hole, though I don't think it looks really good. Let me see. Yeah,
I think it's good. I think it's okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, seems like it's okay. Yeah, though it's not perfectly shaped, but yeah, that's how you achieve it. So,
No,
yeah.
it's actually perfectly done. It's done correctly. So reason why you might think it doesn't look like the shape you want is because you already made a cut. So it's like adding a different cut. So I want to quickly explain some concepts about the Boolean modifier before some two more concepts. It's just on the same Boolean modifier before we get into the exercise. All right. So thank you very much. That's excellent. So let's have Tosin. Kausara ran away. Because I called on her, she ran away. All right, so Tosin, can we see your screen? Are you ready for us? Hello, Tosin. Tosin, are you there?
Yes, I'm coming. I'm trying to locate my Blender screen. Sorry, please.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, I've done it. I'm trying to locate my Blender screen. It's not coming up. I don't know. Is it my network?
I don't know, probably.
Yeah.
Stop
Well,
sharing
I've
and
done
sharing.
Okay, let me stop and
It's
try it.
It's coming up now. But okay, try
it's
again.
coming.
It's attempted coming up and then stopped again.
The Blender is not on my share window now. I don't know why.
Okay.
So it's just. I'm not calling now. I'm not even now. Sorry. Okay, yeah, I've gotten it at last.
All right.
Okay. So this is my. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's coming up. All right, good. Fantastic. Fantastic.
All right.
That's great.
Thank you.
All right, that's great. So let me share my screen now. Okay. Quickly, we're already out of time for today. Well, let me just quickly explain the last concept. All right. So, I believe we all. If I'm to ask us to recreate what I have here, we can do that, right? Like a monkey imprisoned in a cube, sort of.
Yes.
So you notice that this is like a sphere that is inside not a cylinder. But basically, I'm sure we all have we all know how this is achieved. All right. So one thing to note. Okay, let me delete everything in the scene. Let me delete everything in the scene. So it's let me just add in a fresh cube. Okay. Another thing with the Boolean modifier is there are two. Can you mute your mic, please?
Oh, sorry, please. Forgot.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Good. So shift Z scale. All right. So one thing to note with the Boolean modifier, is that there are three sort of like a few different. Like the reason why it's a modifier, of course, it's modular, meaning we can. It's procedural, meaning we can make several tweaks. Okay. So it's not just like you're cutting an object into an object. Now you can also let me just add it in so I explain better. All right. So notice that in the Boolean there are quite a few options here. There's the union, there's the intersect, right? Union and intersect. So what we've been working on is the difference, right? So when you are cutting in Boolean, when you are using the difference is basically like you are cutting out the difference between the two objects, right? So that's like the difference in the collision of the volumes of the two objects, right? You can also add the two objects. So say we have one here. Let me say I'm putting a cube, something like this here, right? I think something like this is okay. So the cube is something like there, right? What if I switch to make of course the cylinder is the cut object, and I switch from difference. Let me go into wireframe so you can see what this is doing in real time. So, but difference of course is cutting a hole, right? But if I don't want to cut a hole, what if I want to reshape this object such that it will have the addition of the excess objects? I don't know how to explain, but that's the best way I can explain it. But let me just click to explain. So let's switch to union. Notice that when I click union, instead of having it cut through object, it's like as though there's like an extrusion from the cube, right? It's like it created a whole new object with extrusion. So that's union. That's another operation under the Boolean. So the third one is the intersect. And what the intersect does, just like the name implies, it will delete it, it will cut out every other thing and only leave the region that the two objects intersect, or the two objects meet. Right. So if I click on the intersect, it will basically, it's basically creating another cylinder, but in the boundary of. Let me rotate this so you can see, so that you can understand it properly. Something like this, or maybe, I want the hair exactly. So something like this, right? So if I'm to add this now, apply this rather. So apply this and then maybe delete the cylinder or something. You can see that our object looks strange, but that's like the combination, the intersect between a cube and a cylinder. Now, if you remember from your secondary school mathematics, there's a subject called I think it's mensuration. Sorry, in under mathematics, there's a topic called mensuration. I think it explains some aspects of this where you have two objects intersecting, then or maybe technical drawing. I think it's technical drawing, right? That you have you're supposed to make out how the final shape will look like when two objects cut each other or something like that. So that's this how it's this way you apply that. Okay, so school is not scam. All right, so so that's basically the three operands for Boolean. I'm trying to undo to all right. So that's like the three major operands for the Boolean. And notice that if you're cutting something and the shape is not looking very, it's not giving you what you want, you might want to change the solver method. So by default it's at exact. So if it's not looking very okay for you, you can change it to fast. Okay, so and That will help you to, especially when you're dealing with difference. So it can really mess up the topology. So if it's not looking very okay, we can switch between this exact and fast. Whatever works. There's no rule about it. Okay, so whatever works for you. All right. So now we've come to the end of the class for today. There's still a few things that I would have wanted us to discuss today. Like under the modifiers, I still have preferred that we speak a little bit about bevel. Although it's all these modifiers are kind of they are simpler. There's not much to this ones. Bevel modifier and the wireframe. Maybe wireframe maybe later on in the class. Okay. Bevel, wireframe, and etc. But starting from next class, which is Saturday, we'll be talking about materials. Okay. We'll be dealing with materials and texture, how to add, because up until now we've only been having let me close this. We'll only be having everything looking so blocky and boring. Okay, so now we're getting to the more interesting and the more intensive stuff. So starting from after next class, every assignment you'll be sending to me, you must add materials to your object, to your assignment. So you won't just send me a blocky solid view like this. You have to add a material. I mean, what I mean is maybe, I don't know, maybe add a particular color or something. After other materials, I'll be talking about texture paint and stuff. So there might be times where I may give you an assignment to do something, maybe with a cube, and the material you must add on it, you must add your face, a picture of your face to each of the face sides of the cube, like a die, like a die. So yeah, something like add a material to it, maybe give this one blue or something like that. I'll explain how all these things are done in the next class. So that's when we start getting into the real interesting stuff. So we can start creating actual custom objects, maybe like, I don't know, this but we'll go back to that swan bottle and we'll complete it to have the full materials, making it the transparent plastic material, the label, everything on it. It looks quite photorealistic. So that's what we'll be working on as from next class. Maybe not completely in next class, but as from next class onward, that's what we'll be doing. Okay. All right. So is that clear? All right.
Yes,
so
that is
now
clear.
for the assignment, I'll be dropping the assignment on the group right now. I'm still trying to decide the easier ones for you guys. So I want it to encompass the what we just did today. So that's all. It will encompass your knowledge. It will encompass your knowledge of what we'll be doing from the beginning of the class. Okay, so it's not just going to be limited to this class. So I want you to be able to hold all the knowledge you've been having together and apply it for a particular task. Right. So the assignment will cover something from everything from array modifiers to Boolean modifiers to Solidify modifiers, and then subdivision surface modifiers. All right. So please be ready for that. It might be a little bit more challenging, but I'll send that before the end of today. And yeah, so that's all, guys. That's all from me. So is there any question, please? Do we have anything? Any question? Or there's something you want to point my attention to? Kausara is back. I told you to share your screen, you ran away. So now you're back. All right, so is there any question? Any question to Lope, Brian, Tosin, Genevieve?
No question from my end. I am good, thanks.
All right, great.
I have a question. I was not around yesterday. Sorry about that. I didn't know if there was any assignment for yesterday.
Yes, there was. We noticed you're not around. We missed you. You were joining intermittent. I think there was a time you joined, you left again.
I was trying to join. I was at an event, so I was trying to join, but the network was bad. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So we missed you because we wanted to see what you had for us. Okay. So there was an assignment yesterday. Unfortunately, I don't think I dropped it on the group. All right, but I showed you guys on the class, but I'll send it also. So have no fear. I'm not collecting the assignment today. So you are submitting both assignments. So the one I'll be sending before the end of today, and also the one for yesterday, you'll be submitting both of that on Saturday. All right. So the assignment for yesterday was quite simple. I think it's just a staircase, right? A spiral staircase. Okay, so please totally try and look at the recording for yesterday's class. It's important because you might have some difficulty understanding how I use the array modifier, because I use some tips on the array modifier to create the jet engine and etc. So it's important to try and follow the recording so you can get that. And yeah, I think that's it. So I'll send both of the assignments after the class, maybe any time from now before the end of the day. Both the assignments.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Tosin, Genevieve, Kausara, is there any comments or any questions? So Kausara, you're confessing that it's your network. I forgive you. Oh, we forgive you. All right.
Okay. No question from my end.
Okay, good. What about you, Tosin?
None from my hand, I think. No.
All right.
Will the recording for today be available?
Yes, of course. The class is being recorded right now. So
Okay, no,
we made
no
up.
problem. Thank you.
All right. So once again, I would like to apologize for starting this class really late. We had some technical difficulties. Notice that Maserichi is not on the call, and yeah, so it was not really planned for like this. So sorry, apologies for that. That will not repeat itself again. All right. So without much ado, I wish you guys a hitch-free week and enjoy the rest of your week. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.